Well, Bob, you saw a lot of it, but I guess your emotions on 800 wins, now it's over.
It's kind of neat seeing all those people and all the people that were really more a part of it than I am, because I didn't score a goal in any of the 800. So it's about relationships, and when I guess I've coached well over 1,000 games, and probably close to, I don't know how many guys. So that's what it's about. It's just the relationships that you develop and watching those guys grow into responsible adults that make a difference. So I don't know. I mean, the wins are that's what I'm supposed to do.
Only 10 guys have done it.
Well, that's what they pay me to do. So I don't know. They said today, like, what is it, 10 guys or something like that? I don't even know who they are. I mean, I know Krzyzewski and Boeheim. I don't even know who they are. Honestly, I've never got wrapped up in that.
Now you say you're not nostalgic, but looking back, can you single out one game as like the greatest win, and/or one game that may have been the most frustrating or disappointing loss?
Well, I think there were two. I mean, obviously Kenyon breaking his leg was one. It was hard to get over, for his sake and for his teammates' sake. And then Day in the Final Four, because they were two just, you couldn't, if you tried to sit down in a laboratory and construct what the best teammate would be, you couldn't do a better job than what either one of those guys were. And why does it happen to them, and why does it happen then? That's certainly the most frustrating. I don't know. I mean, it's 800 wins. How you pick one?
That's why I asked.
I can't do it.
I was kind of wondering.
I like beating Cal, but that was way more than one. So
Kind of wondering, the other successful coaches that you've met, got to know over the years, whether it be football, basketball, whatever, was it always a driving force to win? Is that something that you found in other successful coaches? Is it more to it than that?
Well, I haven't ever met one that didn't want to win. When you're around those guys, and whether you're playing cards or you're playing golf or you're doing whatever, they all want to win. I mean, and they all compete like crazy to win. It's part of the DNA, I think.
Is that different than a dreading losing? Are they the same? Or?
I don't know. You know what Coach Knight said, everyone has the will to win, few have the will to prepare to win. I think that's part of that will is preparing to win. I don't think you ever really think about losing, and when you do, it's excruciating. I don't. As crazy as it is, I think when we played Kentucky in the Elite Eight, I thought we could win. I mean, I really honestly thought we could win. And that, that wasn't like put on for the players' sake or whatever. I mean, I really honestly thought we could win. I mean, I thought we had to do some things right, but.
Has it always been like that? I mean, did you feel that way even at Walsh College?
Mm-hmm. You don't go from being in a program where they had never had a winning season to going 34-1 and not believe you could win. And I mean, obviously, I recruited better players, but I always thought we could win. That was a really totally different experience for me, because it was, when you have the president of the college coming over and tell you to go home, you're spending too much time in the office, go home to your family. You don't need to be in here this long. That's a little different, It's we went, I think what did we go, 14-16 or something like that, and they were happy. He actually called Dan Peters, and I was my assistant. He called us in the office, and he said, "I'm so proud of you two." He said, "I think you really work too hard. You need to spend more time with your families, but I am so proud of you. And if you can keep this program right where it is, you'll have a job here the rest of your life." And I said, and it was Brother Francis, and I said, "Brother, I can't speak for Dan, but you just scared the hell out of me. That's not really what I want to do."
You mentioned in building the relationships. You've had to deal and work with and help grow all different kinds of people from all different kinds of backgrounds. What is it in you that's allowed you to do that, to relate to, and get the most out of all those different kinds of players?
I'm honest with them. I think everybody appreciates honesty. When they suck, I tell them they suck. When they're good, I tell them they're good. When they're working, I tell them how much I appreciate their hard work. When they're not working, I tell them, it's going to catch you. This game has a way of jumping up and biting you when you disrespect it. And I honestly, I think when it's all said and done, and I just spent some time downstairs there with, those 4 or 5 guys that came back from Cincinnati, and it's the same thing. It's appreciation for being honest and being a stand-up guy. And those are, you treat those guys like your family because they are. And if they're not, then you're not bought in. We, as much as we talk about, them buying in, there's a lot of coaches don't buy in. They buy in when it's convenient for them. Not they don't want to do things. I mean, I've been told, don't go down there and defend him or I'm going to fire you. Fire me. My loyalty is to these guys. And I think that spreads, People say, that guy's a phony, man, or that's a real dude.
Put this in context to the day you were laying on the floor in the Pittsburgh airport, and
I was actually on the sidewalk, Bob. It wasn't that comfortable being on the floor. I was on the damn sidewalk. I was on the sidewalk. I don't remember thinking anything really, because I was out. I was gone. I honestly, the only thing I remember, and it's really crazy, and I hate to say it because then it sounds like some kind of wild tale, but I remember some lady saying, "Is that your phone? Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah." And "Is that your phone?" Because my phone fell out of my hand when I fell down. And I thought she called 911, but then they tell me there was no 911 call. But I don't know how the ambulance showed up if nobody called. But I never really checked, Bob, because I really never wanted to know, to be honest with you. That's the only thing I remember. And I remember waking up and asking him, "What's the ETA?" And he's patting me on the leg, telling me I'm gonna be all right. And I'm like, "Man, listen, I'm no old lady, man. I know what my body's telling me. I'm not gonna make it, man, much longer." And so he said, what's ETA? And I think they said 22 minutes. And I said, man, I ain't making 22 minutes. And he said, abort, abort, abort. And they took me to another hospital because they wanted to take me downtown.
Did that have anything to do with driving you once you got back?
No, I think it got more to do with people like driving me nuts about, are you doing too much? Are you doing too much? No. I firmly believe this, Bob. I think God has a plan for all of us, and I think when God says it's your time, and you really don't get a vote, and you can't change His decision one way or the other, and obviously He had other things for me to do, and I really believe that. I mean, it was absolutely nothing but God's will. I mean, I should be dead. I was dead. And for whatever reason, He decided to, bring me back and continue to do what I'm doing.
Did June surprise you with the jersey and the letter?
The scary thing is that letter sweater fits her.
Funny how that happened.
Isn't it? And then Shane presents me with an 800 jersey that's like a medium.
Saves money on framing.
It's probably the only one it's the fastest one they could get, probably. I don't know. I wouldn't do that to Shane. I wouldn't give him a medium. Make him feel like that.
I know you don't know who those other 10 guys are, but Dean Smith, Bob Knight, Adolph Rupp, what are those? You're part of that. What's that mean to you? What do those names mean to you?
Those are big names. Those are guys, John, that, I sat when I first got to go to Final Four, that I sat in the lobby, and I'd sit in the lobby all day and all night and just watch them. Watch how they interacted with people, just sit there and, thinking one day I want to be like that. One day I want to be one of them. And, you read books about them, you go to and listen to them at clinics. I went to Coach Knight's basketball school. You try to absorb everything. I still do. I mean, I love sitting with Coach Knight. And I've been blessed. I mean, I've been blessed. I was Nike took me on board early on after my second year at Akron, I think. And Ed Janka, who I will forever be indebted to, put me on the clinic staff. And I'd go in Friday morning, man. I was the first one there, and we'd all sit in a suite. He had this big suite, and we'd all sit in there, and those guys would come and go and sit and tell stories. And I stayed there. I was there from the beginning in the morning until the last one left, and never said anything. Just sit there and listened. And then, after a while, they walk in, they keep walking in there, and I'm sitting in there. They kind of start talking to you. But yeah, I mean, all those guys. I mean, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be around, the Louis Carnesecas, the Lute Olsons, the Bob Knights. I was never around Coach Rupp, but he's about the only one. Al McGuire took me under his wing. I've told you guys that before. He took me under his wing and really taught me a lot. A lot of those guys. Abe Lemons. Abe Lemons was great to me. Absolutely great to me. They didn't have to be. Jerry Tarkanian was phenomenal to me. And Charlie Spoonhour became my best friend in the world. And, taught me so much about, how he dealt with people was phenomenal. I've been blessed.
Surprised Raleigh snuck in there? I didn't know he was still alive. Hell, he's still coaching.
No, I knew that because one of our guys really goes over there and drinks his wine every night and walks out with one of his glasses. And every time I see him, he tells me about Rolly walking out with one of his glasses. So, so I knew that. And Jared's really close. And Jared had him in for a clinic a couple of years ago, and Jared stays in touch with him quite a bit.
Bob, when coaches get together, do they talk scheme? Do they talk people? Do you just talk? What do they talk about when you guys get together?
It depends. I was with Jimmy V one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's gone to bed, and I started asking him about, because that's when he was running triangle and 2 and boxing 1 and all that stuff, which I really didn't know anything about, and that was back when they used to have matches on the tables and stuff, ashtrays and matches still on the tables, and he got a book of matches out, and we were moving matches around, boxing 1, and he said to me, like we did it for about an hour, and he said, "Man, this is the first time I've talked basketball in God, I don't know how long," because he was always entertaining. He was always entertaining, but had a great basketball mind.
Anything else? You ready for a basketball question?
Yeah.
You guys, with the way running your press in the third year, the one difference, I guess, is that your personal fouls are way down compared to what you guys did the first 2 years. Adjustments, differences, just players getting better? What's?
I think emphasis. We're trying to emphasize it more. I'd like to have a seminar with the officials. It's funny because I saw him afterwards, and the guy said, "You were right," and I'm like, "Really, really?" Yeah, I mean, if we're going to have a cylinder, the cylinder has to work both ways. If we can't reach in the cylinder, they shouldn't be able to reach out of the cylinder. That's my biggest pet peeve for the year. Because they're starting to call traveling once in a while. But if we're going to officiate the cylinder, then we have to officiate both ends of the cylinder. But I think it's emphasis. I think we have, and you're talking about JC and Dax 3 years, and Tariq 3 years, Tavon 2 years. You talk about guys who we do it every day, so they ought to get better at it.